Breaking news, breaking news. There's an evil existential threat. It's the vicious canids that coming in from outer space. But what's this? Willy Wonka. Oh, he's eating something. God, he got so beefy. And now he's purple? He's the woke. So fucking stupid.
So let me walk you through my thought process.
Yeah, what was the go?
Before we recorded, Felicia told me the bit she wanted to do. And I realized, like, you wanted to do a news anchor thing and then have Wonka turn into Hulk. But I thought you wanted the honor of doing Wonka on the Hulk. But then I realized that you were in a weird position where I like, waited a moment. And I was like, am I Hulk Wonka? And so
I don't
like,
even know. I wasn't trying to make you do that.
Which is, I didn't want to take it away from you, but then I hadn't
I wasn't
prepared
planning
what
on
I
it.
was going to do. What that was me possibly retreating into something else as you did it, and I don't know what I was pretending to possibly be. That I guess a vermicious canid in the background, but that was the best we got. I felt like if Putty got to talk. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I felt like weird and stretchy and gloopy and then forgotten.
And that's improv, baby.
Hey!
Welcome to Wonka Watch. This is a podcast where we talk all about the latest and greatest Wonka news and leading up to the Wonka movie. We're doing Wonka Power Rankings today, officially. And I think I just want to say that to explain that fucking insane intro because I was like, I feel like I need to explain it. So anyway, yeah, we're doing all this for the Wonka 2023 movie, which comes out in December. I'm your host, Felicia.
And I'm your host, Elaine.
And we're going to talk about all the power rankings of the Wonka today.
We're going to have them fight each other. We're going to have them debate each other. Who will come out on top? Who will be a bottom? Who's to say? We will find out in the next hour.
Hey, maybe if this episode, we don't fill enough time, we just decide which Wonkas are bottoms.
Yeah. Can you imagine? People are like, oh yeah, and then it's like, we're gonna figure out which Wonkas are bottoms, so let's go. And then
did you guys listen to Wonka Watch episode 247? Yeah, it's called Top or Bottom, and the whole episode is them deciding which characters will be a top or bottom, and one of them says a name and the other one just says top or bottom, and they don't discuss and they keep moving on. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. It's actually not that breaking. Timothee Chalamet sat down with a reporter and it got weird again. That's right. It's a Vogue profile.
I feel
love
like we
these
need a
Vogue
bingo
profiles.
card for these at this point.
Do you want to, I mean, what do you think is going to happen in this interview?
There's a quirky food moment, a weird description of his laughter, and I think he's going to be wearing something that the interviewer thinks is a little unconventional, but somehow works for him, the teen heartthrob.
So, Timothee Chalamet is the new face of Chanel Blue, starring in an ad campaign directed by Martin Scorsese, which means it's time for another weird Vogue profile. These always feel so fucking weird to read, and I love reading them because I feel like it highlights how absurd these fucking things are. But this one I think may be my favorite, just because of the actual content of the article. When we meet on a drizzly spring morning in New York, he's ensconced in a squishy black leather armchair. And dressed in all black. Nike tee, workwear pants, Craig green sneakers, and his gently mussed, side-parted curls are undeniably the main event. All one sentence, by the way.
Ooh, what an intro.
Timothee Chalamet is talking a lot about the Chanel Blue fragrance. The quotes they have from him. Do you remember the last one where he went on this like whole rant about what he thinks time and space are? What was that? It was like this like weird philosophical rant. Yeah. This one is not that level, but this is what he talked about the fragrance. I like that it feels pulled back. It's subtle, but it's still assertive. He says, raising his wrist to his face to take in the aromatic notes of sandalwood. I'm not someone who wears scent all the time. Sorry. I'm not someone who wears scent all the time. For me,
oh my gosh,
it's about emphasizing a moment.
Oh, I can't. If I could put it in bold and italics how I'm feeling, that's what the sandalwood does.
For me, a scent is about emphasizing a moment. I'm sorry. I gotta make fun of it. So now, we talk about Wonka. Then in December comes Wonka, directed by Paul King of Paddington fame, in which the actor plays the titular kooky and much beloved chocolatier. To work on something that will have an uncynical young audience, that was just a big joy. That's why I was drawn to it. In a time and climate of intense political rhetoric, when there's so much bad news all the time, this is hopefully going to be a piece of chocolate. Now, come on. But also, it also doesn't work.
I guess he didn't get our email with easy bits
our
to include in his interviews.
For better puns.
Wow.
This will
I'll
be
try to
something
send it through
sweet.
again.
Maybe try that one. Not a piece of chocolate. Doesn't work.
Piece of chocolate.
Number 2. The main thing is all the articles that came out of this is like, Timothee Chalamet says Wonka is made for uncynical young audiences. And it felt like such a call out every time I see that email. It felt like he was subtweeting us. And I know he wasn't. But it felt like he was like, it's for uncynical young audiences. Not these two bitches who hate on everything we do.
We were once, I believe someone commented the word curmudgeon to describe the vibe, and I was like, yes.
There was a lot of this article was the interviewer was on like a covert mission to try to figure out what he does to his hair. Like, I think they just wanted beats.
Love
and he was like, actually, like the whole time he was like, oh, it's nothing, and he was like, actually, I have a secret. It's this hairstylist lady, and it's like, well, yeah,
we figured you didn't.
Breaking secret: my hair is done by a hairstylist.
Pomade, like.
Apparently she's like a person who, if you know her, it's not a big deal, but like more like an indie hit of hairstylists, is what the vibe was. But the end of it seemed like the interviewer found out too much and was like being cagey because they didn't want to let people know the secret. It was weird. Let me just pull up the last paragraph. Timothee Chalamet starts to spill the beans on his hair. He says, Jamie actually has all the secrets about my hair. Jamie who? I ask. People know, he says, flashing a wry smile. And then they say, I might as well be the last person on earth to know about Jamie Taylor, who has been working for the last 6 years as Chalamet's groomer. A word we both agree doesn't accurately describe her craft. I mean, the word is evocative of a horse, he says with a laugh, before lowering his voice to a whisper. I saw Channing Tatum at this JC party. He's worked with Jamie a lot longer than I have, so I thanked him, and he's like, oh, you didn't steal her, don't worry. And this person, I won't say who, was like, oh, are you guys really talking about your groomer? And he says, I was. Oh shit, here we are. I don't know, man. That's the end of the article.
Usually only also hear if there's like, classically like men's haircut, it's like a barber. Like
a groomer.
I've literally never heard any human I know refer to it as a groomer, except for like dogs and, like you said, horses. Yeah. So like, what if that's the secret? The horse girls knew it right all along.
She's from a Petco. She's from a Petco. Yeah, she works at Petco.
Can you imagine he goes gets his nails
clipped
into a Petco? Timothee Chalamet walks into a Petco. They put him in the little harness to trim his nails because he gets too rapid. And then they do the thing where he gets a little bath in the sink, and then they have to blow dry him while he's like in this little saddle. And then he gets a little bandana when you pick him up to take him home.
I can picture him going fucking rabid in a Petco. I don't know why that image was so easy to picture.
Like, he goes to the fish tank section and just picks up the castle for fun because it's cute and buys it. He doesn't have fish. It's not going to go anywhere. He just wants that. The fish decor is so fun and cool. And then he just starts nibbling on the free dog treats. I just can see him
foaming at the mouth when they try and clip his nails.
Yes.
Why is that the funniest fucking thing I've heard in weeks? Is Timothee Chalamet going, Imagine being a paparazzi following Timothee Chalamet, and you're like, he's going into a Petco. He came out, and now he's got a little bow in his hair.
Like, my groomer was the same groomer who groomed the dog who won the Westminster show. So I don't know what you tell me. Who's the bad bitch now?
There's one more paragraph of this.
Okay,
and this is very funny. The long-awaited Bob Dylan biopic will begin filming this summer here in New York, with Chalamet recording all his own vocals for the leading role. I've been preparing it forever, he said with a sigh. Right now, that includes daily sessions with a vocal coach, though to hear him tell it, he's been limbering up since his performing arts school days. This made me laugh so hard. I can't expect anyone outside of the New York City public school system to know this, but there's a production of Cabaret at LaGuardia, class of 2013, that you can watch on YouTube, he says proudly. I remember the New York Times critics Ben Brantley said very nice things about it, so I'm going to emphasize that.
Who do you think he played in Cabaret?
It's not on YouTube. He played the MC, so it's not nothing. I do think it is so fucking funny that they're like, Timothee Chalamet, why are you going to be good at playing Bob Dylan? He's like, well, I actually played the MC in Cabaret about 10 years ago in high school.
Money.
Literally.
Wow. I totally forgot about the Bob Dylan shit, which is still...
Celebrities are just like the rest of us reliving our high school theater days. Bragging about it 10 years plus. Also, it's not on YouTube, fucking liar. But you can find photos of it. If you look up Timothee Chalamet Cabaret, they put him in some real weird makeup.
Oh, man.
So... But anyway, yeah, a lot of people, the Bob Dylan thing is now, like, people are really finding out about it, and I saw people on Instagram being mad about it. They're like, he's too handsome to play Bob Dylan, and all this stuff. But I'm like...
Poor Bob Dylan.
I know, I'm like, don't at the man like that.
Wow, shit.
But honestly, I think he's gonna be fine, because there's this one specific video of Bob Dylan reading a street sign that has almost the exact mannerisms of Timothee Chalamet in an interview. I don't know shit about Bob Dylan, but I was like, oh yeah, obviously, once I watched this. Find it real quick, just because I've been meaning to show it to you, because it's like semi-relevant to what we do, but not really. Give me un momento.
This has brought me, like, I can tell my dopamine levels are so much higher now, also.
Just thinking about Timothee Chalamet getting his nails trimmed.
Yeah, actually, I think that might, like, I think I was slipping into a depressive episode. I genuinely feel, like, better than I have all week.
So, guys, we found the new cure to depression. It's to think about Timothee Chalamet getting his haircut and his nails trimmed at the...
It's just the fact that he gets a little bit at the end.
I'm picturing him putting one of those little bows in his hair like a Pomeranian, too.
And then they go like, he did so well. No, yeah, he did such a good job. Make sure that
they give him back to Martin Scorsese.
He's like, did you give him his flea and tick medicine? His pro heart shot. Oh no, I'm gonna stop.
Actually, this is about dog bathing. I'm not fucking joking. This is Timothee Chalamet reading the sign outside the Petco where he gets his nails clipped.
I'm looking for a place that will collect, clip, bath, and return my dog. It's KN17727, cigarettes and tobacco. I'm looking for somebody to sell my dog, collect my clip, buy my animal, and straighten out my bird.
Wow. That was amazing. Thank you for
Isn't it
that.
right on?
That made me feel... Can you imagine if we were a Bob Dylan, Timothee Chalamet podcast? Like, if Bob Dylan was
disgusting.
the thing we were, like, counting down for? Like, I guess
that
why,
would be so
but then also
depressing.
why this?
Yeah.
I mean, but, like, you say that, take yourself 3 years ago, and then tell them this concept of our podcast and be like, why would you talk about... That would make sense
to me. I feel like Wonka's so fucking nuts.
It does make a little more
sense.
sense. That's at least like a cultural thing that's like very intensely in my personal life. But not to
Bob
say
Dylan.
People are going to come at me. I know who Bob Dylan is. He has very big cultural influence. I just want to throw that out there. Yes. You can't play as much with Bob Dylan as you can with Wonka.
That's my Bob Dylan impression.
Oh, man. We're in so much. We're in big trubbies. We're in trubbies.
We've had a nice discussion about Timothee Chalamet getting his nails clipped in the PetSmart, which is
a great segue.
Every little once in a while, I'm just going to think back to that because it's such a beautiful mental image.
So fucking good.
But we're here to talk about our official Wonka power rankings. We've alluded to this a lot, that this is something I vaguely keep track of while we record, but we haven't actually, like, fully talked about it or nailed down our official ranking, you know?
Yeah.
So I've pulled together a lot of evidence. I may have missed stuff, and if I did, sorry. But I think we have a pretty good idea generally of people's power. So I think first we should level our ground rules between the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, Gene, Johnny, and Roald Wonka, you know?
Yes.
We know Roald Wonka is the most powerful. I don't think any of us have to debate that. I mean, he's insanely powerful. He's almost like a god.
Access to hell.
Goes to space and back. Has
potentially
saved Earth multiple times.
The cure for mortality.
Yeah, has place with time.
Knows the president of the United States.
He knows the president.
What?
So Willy Wonka, I mean, he's going to be on the top no matter what, you know. So then it's between Johnny and Gene. And we've talked about this. I think we already know what our answer is for this, where it's Johnny second and then Gene third. However little I like that, you know?
Yeah, because Johnny has the whole, like, his factory is also a little daunting and spooky. And we have that whole weird, like, it looks like he's creating weapons of mass destruction at one
and
point.
there's the thing of, like, Gene's factory looks like a place you could actually walk into and could be real, which I think makes the movie more compelling, but puts his power ranking down a little bit, you know?
Do you know what I was thinking about the other day? Gene Wonka's factory is like a Build-A-Bear.
Yeah.
It's got the
Can you elaborate on that, though?
energy. Yeah, so when you go to Build-A-Bear, you are presented, and as a youth, I think it's extra magical.
No, I get
right?
it.
You know, you go on this journey with me.
You know what was my favorite part of the Build-A-Bear? Is the part where you give him a little shower.
Yes! They got rid of that! Oh, don't worry, I have words. So you go into Build-A-Bear, and if you've never been to a Build-A-Bear, my dear friends, this is where you get to make your own stuffed animal. That they try to give you this experience that you created it. So you basically pick up the
Timothee Chalamet
hide.
came from? Timothee Chalamet was
He's
born
just
in
a Build-A-Bear. And at night, he turns
They let
back
him get out of the factory. We gotta get him back in.
Oh no! Timmy! That's why he likes to go to the groomer. It reminds him of his roots. Oh no! His little outfits all come from Build-A-Bear. Okay. So in Build-A-Bear, you pick out the hide of the
Sorry. One last joke.
Yes.
The scent packet you put in the Build-A-Bear for him, it was Chanel Blue. That's all. Hey, Timothee Chalamet, I'm sorry if you're listening.
Oh, Timmy. Hey, Timmy. We haven't talked to you in a while. Hey, we're sorry.
We're sorry about this episode.
Bring it back, Elaine. Okay, so you walk in and you get to pick the skin, the hide of your stuffed animal. So you there's a ton of different options. It's very exciting. So you pick that up, and then there are different stations throughout the entire Build-A-Bear workshop. They call it a workshop, but they've got it all fun designs. It's not like a store. And then possibly the most bizarre cult shit that makes it so beautiful is the stuffing part. And you get to hit the pedal, and a worker will help put your little hide up, not your hide, the hide of your stuffed animal, up to the machine of this giant, like, circular concave machine almost with all this cotton and fluff.
Don't forget, did you mention the heart? You get a little plastic
we're getting
heart,
there, yes.
and
so
you
stuff them, and then, you get the heart, and they go, do you want a plaid one or a red one? And then they make you do a whole little wish like thing, and there's like a weird, like, they've changed it over the years, and they like make you like rub the heart on your head, so they're always thinking of you, and rub it on your knees so they always need you or something. I don't even know. It was really weird, but it's adorable and fun. And then you make a wish, and then you put the heart in the stuffed animal, and they like sew it up. And then what used to be a thing is you would go to the like blow dryer section. I think it was supposed to get rid of any extra fluff, but basically it looked like a dog groomer station where you had like this suction cup vacuum thing, and you could like brush them and like blow them off. It was so good, and they got rid of it. Anyway, Build-A-Bear was actually
the inspiration for the Dyson Airwrap. So
yeah, really. I mean, Build-A-Bear really just was making dreams come true left and right. So I say all of this because there's a lot of whimsy in Build-A-Bear. We have similar machines, if you think about it, in the factory. Who can resist all these temptations? They also have an entire wardrobe section, so you can put your animal in. I had roller skates for my leopard. It's so fun. And then you get to take the bear home in a house-shaped box.
Oh, yeah, the box is good.
The box is fantastic. So anyway, I just feel like Gene Wonka's factory really gives me Build-A-Bear vibes, and it just hasn't left me, and now everyone else has to, I don't know, hear it, because I have a Wonka podcast, so I get to share these thoughts with other people who might feel it.
I love how unpredictable this podcast is, because I never thought when I made the Wonka power ranking it would come with an extended discussion about how Timothee Chalamet was birthed from a Build-A-Bear, but here we are.
Same. Here we are.
And you're right,
So
I do feel lighter. I do feel lighter and happier.
Right?
What
Isn't
is
it
about
weird?
that?
How is this working?
Well, I guess it's because we laughed a lot, and I think that would make sense. But guys, you know, therapy's good. But have you thought about making an elaborate thought experiment where Timothee Chalamet goes to get his nails cut? Have you thought about it? Give it a whirl. Think about it harder.
Anyway, so right now we have Rolled, then Johnny, then Gene.
Right, which I think is
Perfect.
accurate. So here's where the thing happens, is filling out the gaps, is filling this in with the rest of our guys. This is where it gets fucking complicated. So We're going to start with Christian because I have the largest notes on Christian because a lot of the others are slight variations on others. And then also, yes, I paid a lot of attention to the Christian musical. This is the only one where I wrote a full, like, I wrote an actual power ranking list on the notes because I do this in my head most of the time, but I actually wrote a list.
You think a lot about Christian Wonka's power.
Yeah, I do. I still stand by it.
Oh, yeah. No. And we all support you.
Christian Wonka. He can effortlessly disguise himself as different people because he did act as the store owner for a while. Yeah. He's the owner of Wonka franchise stores, not just selling candy to other stores. So, pretty fucking rich. He can do the bird egg thing. He has a child who's literally obsessed with him, who would do almost anything for him. In regards to Charlie, he has not invented never melting ice cream, which is important. So that's a mark down. He's a fashion icon. He has access to uranium. He can wield a sword. He has an invisible maze of traps. He can talk to squirrels. This one is interesting. He only made a chocolate lagoon, not a river. But does this show power and restraint?
Interesting. We're gonna have to figure out how we define power, I think, at the end of this.
Exactly. I'm thinking about power in regards to resources, you know, like what is at their disposal and their own abilities.
I'll tuck that away in the back of my brain.
What are your thoughts on
Christian? My thoughts on Christian? I agree. I think that the power he has versus the chaos that he is, I think can be combined, but also are a little separate too. Like, I think some of these Wonkas we're going to find that they themselves are like maybe so, but the things they have access to that they've created are also chaotic. So I feel like Christian is a good combo of both. He's confident. He's a confident Wonka.
Yes,
which I think
may put him above Johnny. And I don't mean that. Like, I'm thinking about this because I was thinking, oh, well, Johnny's more powerful than Christian. But then I was laying out the actual evidence, and I'm like, no, he's not. You know, Johnny doesn't have the franchise stores. He can't talk to squirrels.
That's true. Johnny isn't really as charismatic.
Johnny does not have the confidence needed. You know?
Yes.
So I'm not just trying to push Christian up to the top of the list, but I'm thinking objectively.
Of course not.
But I'm thinking objectively because I thought he's between Johnny and Gene, but I'm like, wait, no, he's not. Because the only thing is he hasn't invented never melting ice cream. He did make some dumb shit like a lollipop that charges your phone. Like, that's stupid. But
that's true.
We have all got some stinkers.
I see it. Okay. Yeah, I think if he has uranium, he can beat Johnny. Because I was only going to say the weapons of mass destruction thing Johnny was creating is a little bit spooky, and the fact that he has a whole ass mountain in his factory as well. I think it's interesting because with Christian Wonka we're obviously limited to the stage.
Right. So
yeah, I can play with that for now.
Him talking to squirrels is compelling to me. So Doug Wonka is a lot of the above, but I don't think could he talk to squirrels? I don't remember.
This is going to be I was sitting here and I had a moment where I think I'm about to go to bat for Doug Wonka, which is something I have never in my entire life thought I would say.
He has a full river. And he can also make robots. He has Gravel and Bertha, the robots that we all forget about.
Right. This is where I was saying, figuring out what power is. His factory is possibly the most powerful. It's so powerful, he can't even probably fully control it, and yet it is in his control. It is his thing he must deal. It's like Frodo with the ring. Doug Wonka and his factory. His factory that is alive. And he doesn't
that's
that
Opera
one
Wonka.
Throw.
That's Opera Wonka.
Shit. Well, fuck Doug Wonka then. Never mind.
We're talking about Doug Wonka. The one thing about Doug Wonka is he
combined the two because they brought me both pain. So
yeah.
Just
Doug Wonka disappears in the thin
Doug
air.
Wonka has the that's right.
Doug Wonka disappears in the thin air. He does have a full river and not a lagoon. Mm-hmm. However, he's just kind of corny.
That's true, but I mean,
here's the thing: he doesn't. The only thing that I will say in regards to Christian maybe winning out over Doug. Doug, when he disguises himself as a guy who scavenges through the garbage. And Christian makes himself a Wonka franchise store owner because he has Wonka franchise stores. So, I don't know. Does that make sense? Does Doug have access to that? And then also, he has such a weak mental wherewithal that he has to disappear into thin fucking air immediately after leaving the factory. Do you know what I mean? But could we say there's some level of magic there? I don't know. Those are my two pieces of
Yeah.
evidence. I don't remember much else from the West End, I'm gonna be honest.
West End Wonka, if I recall, wasn't necessarily as erratic as Christian Wonka is. I don't necessarily think that means he would be less powerful just because he has more control of, like, his emotional outbursts. But
Right. But I don't
I don't
remember
know.
watching
I'm
it and
kinda
going, this
torn,
guy's
to be honest.
powerful. Yeah, like, that's the thing.
well, we'd also, it's hard to do that when you've just watched Christian Wonka. You know? Like, I think that's
Yeah.
hard to, shift it to there. Can we come back to that? Can we put them as a tie right now and, like, circle back? Because it might just be between who has a lagoon and who has a river, and how do we feel about that?
Yeah, maybe I'll go back through my notes real quick, skim through the West End to see if I can get any more relevant details, and maybe there can be something in there
Because, like,
that can
Doug
elucidate
Wonka
me.
has, like, Doug Wonka's mustache has power. That thing has
Yeah.
clout, like that's a consideration. Christian Wonka likes Whitney Houston, has that pop culture, like might have influence, but like we don't, how do you
Now,
compare?
do we include Christian Wonka's power over me in this discussion? Do we include that?
This is something else we can discuss, the power they have over us, because if that is factored, Christian Wonka 100% wins, seeing as we have no strong love for Doug Wonka.
So TJ Wonka. It's essentially all the Wonka shit except for the remote he has that can make people switch body parts.
That's horrible. Yeah, I'm going to say he is, I mean, to be fair, they kind of have similar things with that. Like, I'm debating if he's higher or lower than Johnny, and then I'll figure out if he's higher or lower than Gene. I'm not saying that, but I think Johnny would be my first, like, okay, that's where the real battle royale could begin. Only because as a 2D animation, TJ Wonka has, like, a lot of other possibilities as well. I think he sucks, though. He can go away. I don't know.
I think
I'm
Johnny is
not,
more
like,
powerful.
Right. So then we go down to Gene and TJ, and I feel like, I don't know, his hair was weird. I don't know.
I think he is more powerful than Gene because he has all of the resources that Gene has.
Yes.
Plus, he can make people switch body parts.
Yes. And he made Tuffy the mouse taller to be an Oompa Loompa. So, like, I guess he has that power. But yeah,
sorry, Gene.
I agree. Gene, this just because these people are more powerful doesn't mean that you don't have your own power. We all have our own power.
All right, let's talk about Opera Wonka, because we've talked about this a little bit. Opera Wonka, he's a compelling case, because here's the thing. Does he control the factory, or does the factory control him? And that's the real debate we need to get down to on this.
Does it matter? Because he would still have that same power, even if he can or cannot control it. The power is connected to him. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that would be the first.
I guess I'm just thinking, like, if the factory would do the same thing, even if he wasn't there, completely, like, he's just there as a showman. You know what I mean? That is completely.
I feel like
if what I'm trying to think is, what could these Wonkas do if some sort of threat happened? Do you know what I mean? Who could rally their resources together? And if he has no control over the factory, he can't do shit.
I want to put Opera second. And
I don't
want to
disagree with you, because he does have a full train and gargoyles.
Right. The gargoyles, I was thinking we don't have as much background. I like to think almost like, clearly I think he does have some control because he's been able to set up some of the rooms. I think there are certain portions of the room, like in the factory, that he's like, I have no idea what's happening in that wing.
Here's the only thing.
Can
I say one thing? I just remembered.
Yeah.
I was looking through some of the notes for these original episodes because I was trying to gather some information. I remember reading all of his inventions. Like, his factory was a big deal. It was fucking crazy. But all of his inventions were all pretty fucking normal, if I remember. They were like edible stationery, a pencil made of chocolate fudge, the sugary baby bird, the mint green swudge. Like, it was all stuff that, like, you could probably make IRL. Like, it wouldn't be amazing, but you could probably make it. That's the only evidence, is he doesn't have, like,
that's
the
true.
fucking...
But the fact, he's almost got a chosen one energy. The fact that the
I do agree
gargoyles
with
are
you.
aware,
I just needed
right?
to mention
like, it's
that,
interesting.
you know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he had the lamest invent. Now that you bring that up, I do recall that now. He had the lamest inventions. But I guess if it's a commercial success...
Well, here's someone who I think may knock off Opera Wonka off a spot. Let's talk about Scott Wonka. Scott Wonka is a diplomat, essentially, because he has multiple civilizations living in his factory. Okay?
Yes.
He has a full fucking desert.
Yes.
Do we even need to elaborate? He also has emotional vulnerability. That's a power none of the other Wonkas are able to capture.
He has chocolate cigar. I get that these are things that don't necessarily say, like, direct power, but, like, AskMen.com would be all over Scott Wonka. He
I don't
may
always
not
have a chocolate
like,
factory, but when I do, you know.
It's interesting, yeah, because to me the power of Scott Wonka is just like oozing charisma and intrigue, and like it's like your classic celebrity. They're just like us, like we were mentioning earlier, but like Scott Wonka, clearly, like, he does have all this extra control. He still has the same like amount of it. So it's funny to say that like Opera Wonka, who literally has gargoyles and magic shit,
while using the least amount of slave labor.
I'm trying to think of people listening to this who'd be like, you just want to put him out there because you love Scott Frank. And I'm going to say, yeah, we fucking love Scott Wonka.
No, but I agree with you.
But also...
your relationship, in case anyone is newish to the podcast, your relationship to Scott Wonka is akin to mine to Christian. You don't have a crush on Scott Wonka because he's only on paper and he's not really real. But, you know what I mean?
Thought me before. If we want to go to our crushes episode.
Yeah. But we both have a bit of a favoritism bias where we feel like we need to keep ourselves in check. So when you're like, I don't want to push him because it's just Scott, that's exactly how I feel about Christian, so I get you. You know?
Okay, yeah.
Did we read my Christian Wonka notes? I was fucking crazy. I wrote about wanting to trap him in a glass jar at one point. I was like, girl, what are you doing?
That was like the biggest surprise, was your love of Christian Wonka. I mean, it makes sense now, but like, you know, at that time where we were at with the podcast, I was like, what the fuck?
Why do you love this guy?
It
was love as soon as he started singing Whitney Houston. What can I say? I genuinely think no piece of Wonka lore had more impact on how we view Wonka than that 5 seconds where he sang Whitney Houston out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because that inspired, I think, almost the entire character of Wilfred Wonka. Let's be honest. I thought we should mention him, Henry Wonka. I don't know if he deserves a full listing on this list because we don't know what the rest of his factory is, but I just wanted to note that this is Wonka from the Sleep Story.
Is very strong.
Yeah, he does have the power of seduction, and he has a machine that can make dreams a reality, but he has some sort of goat-related trauma. And he has so many chocolate goats overrunning the factory that he can't get a handle of, and they keep eating his coats. So it's hard. Because, like, objectively, Gene does not have access to that sort of criteria.
He can't make dreams reality, which...
And really, if you can make dreams reality... Are you more powerful than everybody? And I don't want to put Henry Wonka on top because his performance is so limited and we don't know the rest of his life, and maybe there are limitations on the machine that we don't know about.
Yeah. It's a really good point, though. He can create any reality, other people's realities, things that he couldn't think of, but he can make other... He can probably enter people's dreams, though. And, like, the goats.
And he could also make powers that are, like... horrible Pandora's box-esque nightmares could happen too, but that's a part of power in its own regard.
Seductive while he does it.
So
he
sexy.
He might be like near the top, Felicia.
How do I cope? He's not a warden of hell, but is Henry Wonka number 2? I don't like this, but I guess he is.
I mean, I think he has to be.
I put him on here.
The way that
convinced.
We just defended Scott Wonka, we have to put Henry Wonka as second. This is Henry Wonka's moment. Henry Wonka has really not had a moment. He had a whole episode.
Henry. Do we want to put Mark Wonka on the list because he's going to be below Gene?
Yeah,
Mark Wonka. With all love, all he has access to is a Six Flags, Six Flags, a Nerds box, and a dream.
Oh God, we love him for it.
Alton Wonka. Theme park ride.
Okay, we have to duke it out. Mark Wonka or Alton Wonka? Who's gonna win?
No, well, he's gotta be above Mark.
Are we sure?
Mark doesn't have his own ride at the Six Flags.
Mark fucking, like, owns Six Flags.
No, he does not.
Why does Alton Wonka have more power? Tell me.
Because he has a fucking factory, Elaine. You go through... He has a glass elevator. Mark Wonka doesn't have a glass elevator.
Okay.
You ride in Wonka's glass elevator and you see his whole factory. You see the chocolate room. You see the Oompa Loompas. You see all this stuff.
Okay.
And
Mark,
now,
I fought for you, Mark.
Now, is Mark the most ethical Wonka? Probably. But
yes.
But unfortunately, I do think Alton Wonka, I think he has to be below Gene just because
you know what?
of his...
He also has his special nose power. Since it's his whole fucking face. He can
his
smell
nose power he
mischief.
developed in the Hunger Games episode where he stabs someone with his nose. Okay, Pop Tropica Wonka.
Oh my god! Well, okay, I was gonna say bottom because I hate it, but actually,
his face is on their money.
His face is on their money. A lot more dangerous factory, possibly, I would argue, than some of the other factories we see.
He has this bizarre, like, reality shifting corridor system. He has a gift shop outside of the Wonka factory that references other Wonka universes, right? And
so
that's a little
for sure in canon has access to the other universes.
He is a tyrant because he meets a kid and he's like, go pick up my cane from 3 feet across the room. I won't even go over to get it. You know, like he's a real...
I think he's more powerful than TJ.
Is he?
Do I? Hold on.
TJ can switch body parts at will.
TJ can switch body parts at will, but like the economic hold, we got to think, if you have an economic hold, like if he is genuinely the currency, he has so much control more.
And even if it's not, the fact that he was able to make people use Wonka coins to buy the Wonka bars is a level of commitment.
Yeah, because like obviously the body horror, that's bad, but if you own the economy, that to me is like totalitarian shit.
Okay, so where does that make him though?
I don't think he's more powerful than Johnny because we never saw any direct weapons, and that's kind of what I'm using with Johnny.
Did we even see direct weapons from Johnny, or did we make that up?
No, Mike TV gets excited in the elevator because they have like it's like a video game moment kind of thing, but it's like actual shooting shit, and it's like what the fuck. It's like not really candy related, and you're like, what the shit are you doing here? Not talked about enough. There's like I'm pretty sure there's no candy in that entire fucking room. Below Johnny, above TJ. I think that's a safe place.
I agree with you.
This is so weird. I never would have thought this is so weird.
This would be the ranking. I'm glad we finally hashed this out.
Yeah.
Because it's shockingly revealing. Okay.
It's giving our baby Wonkas their moments as well. A lot of our new baby Wonkas are starting to take their first steps.
So I guess we do need to talk about Greyhound. Greyhound's hard because we don't know much about Greyhound beyond the like 8-minute clips. He seems to have a more personal relationship with the Oompa Loompas than some of the others. And he does bit, like, have TV access. He has different forms of transportation.
I feel like
he can't be that powerful.
Greyhound or Alton, they need to duke it out for their spot, I think.
I think Greyhound's above Alton.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to explain why. I think maybe because he's more unique.
I think Greyhound, we got to see more. I mean, it's like his whole little chocolate thing. They were like their own little worlds. Like,
right. Yeah, there was a lot going on there. Oh, and he's technically the star of the Wonkanizer and the Wonka website, which is, if he's in... Well, now let's talk about the Wonkanizer, because if he's the one in charge of the Wonkanizer...
Whoa. Oh. Are we going to count him as that? It's great.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one all over the website.
Wonka...
So here's the thing. We have to take into account, while we like to think of website Wonka as different, technically, Greyhound Wonka is website Wonka, meaning he is the one that does the meat sculptures. He's a pet spaghetti and does meat sculptures, if I'm remembering that right. May have mixed that up, but you know what I mean. Greyhound also has the Wonkanizer, which for those who haven't listened to the Wonkanizer episodes, it's a machine that you put candy into and you can travel through time and space, seemingly randomly. It's a pretty big deal.
He created a very powerful machine that breaks every time and presumably doesn't ever get to work. So it has its moment of being terrifying. There's the potential there, but I don't think there's the consistency. We don't really see consistency in his machinery. We just see consistency in his candy making.
However, we do have to mention that is a reality-breaking technology. Like,
it is.
To me, that is close to Wonkavite levels. So
but if it doesn't last, though, like if it
does last.
But then it breaks again. Like it has candy in it. It's so fickle that like it's a power, but like
I know, but I'm saying he has access to time travel. Even hypothetically, he has access to time travel. I feel like I can't put him below Gene if he has access to time travel. Do you know what I mean?
I will agree.
Here's the thing.
He can go above.
Do we want to break out Greyhound and website Wonka? Because website Wonka feels like a different character to me.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really even thought about website Wonka being his own thing. I mean, he's just... he doesn't have a lot of personality. You know what I mean? Like, he's just
Say
like,
that to the meat
goof.
sculptures, Elaine.
That's fair. I'm sorry. And you did a lot of great Wonka work. I didn't mean to take away from that. Your voice acting, and that was fantastic. I love that Wonka voice acting. I give my roses where they're due. I don't know. Okay, look within. Am I just offended that website Wonka is about to be more powerful? It's just, he doesn't do it though. He gives it to somebody else. Like he just, you know what I mean? Like he did create it.
He's not, okay. He's not, here's what I propose.
A flash in the pan.
He is above Christian, but below opera.
I can live with that. I can
Because
accept that.
here's the thing. I cannot in good conscience put him like below anybody who has no evidence of reality breaking. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I
Opera
can
Wonka
agree with that.
has the intentions of reality breaking. Scott doesn't really break reality, but he is so successful within his reality that his factory does kind of break reality because it's so fucking huge.
Yeah, I think I mostly didn't want him to be in the top 3, so I'm good with this. This makes sense to me. I feel good with this. Yes, Greyhound Wonka's such a cutie too.
Oh, but we didn't consider the sex power. Put him up to 1.
I literally was about to be like.
Now we need to really dig out the Doug and Christian dilemma. I've gone back to my notes. Yeah, so he is disguised as a trash scavenger old man. So there's that. Grandma Georgina says of him, he has a sex appeal that makes me feel young. There, I said it. And let me say that Mr. Willy Wonka whips a swirl that makes a girl go wild. So there we go. Just, I don't know. I read those lyrics again. And I was like, Jesus Christ,
Little power
what the fuck?
seduction. Little power seduction on Doug's side.
Power seduction. So nothing Christian doesn't have.
Well, because was it Mike TV's mom is all over Christian? Which mom? There's a mom that's like all over Christian Wonka. I forget who it is.
I would be too. I get it.
So they both have some sex appeal going for them. Okay.
He comes in. He has a much fancier gait. But do we want to count the stage design in this? You know,
I'm just imagining if they got in a fight, I think Doug would win. Fucking, I think Christian would try to do something crazy, and Doug would just fucking punch him, and it'd be done. He'd be like, simplicity is power sometimes, you know?
How tall is the guy who plays him?
Oh my
How
gosh.
tall is... Wait, what's this guy's last name?
I was about to look up Doug Wonka. He is not Doug at all. I named him Doug. I'm pretty... his name is Doug, right?
His actor's name is Douglas something.
Yes.
Douglas Wonka. How tall is Douglas Wonka? Douglas Hodge. He's 5'10". How tall is Christian Borle? 5'9". Christian Borle's 49. Damn.
Wow.
The absolute first thing when you search up Christian Borle is what happened to Christian Borle. The answer is nothing.
Oh my god. I feel like Doug Wonka is closest to Book Wonka in a way. Mostly in the costume, but like...
Yeah, Wonka in this is scary. We have to remember, Wonka is spooky in this. Like
he's scary in this one, yes.
He's spooky. He's very much a Disney villain, you know?
Who do you think would have better, like, decision rationale? Like, who could, like... I just always imagine Christian as, like, very chaotic, very smart, clearly. But I don't, you know, there's something about being able to, like, here is a plan, think it out. Which I guess he does the whole factory thing. So that is a plan.
Yeah, they all have evidence. He has a robot named Gravel and Bertha. That's something.
I guess I could see what I wrote in my notes, too. I love that we're figuring out between Doug and Christian. I took my notes for West End Wonka are 6 bullet points.
Oh my god, Elaine. This is why I take such advanced notes.
This is so funny to me. I usually write a lot more notes. I must have just either written it somewhere else or I stopped. What happened?
Wonka, he doesn't seem to do much. Wonka says that's why I gave up raving. So he used to rave, this Wonka.
You know what? Let's just call it what it is. Let's put Christian first because
Hold on, I'm almost down the list, Elaine.
Okay. I'll just say in the meantime, I think his pop cultural references suggest that he is more in touch with what is happening in the world, and therefore he has a bigger audience he can get in touch with. Obviously, Candy Maker, children love candy, sure, but he's also going to be able to hit more demographics, possibly get influencers on his side because he knows what's going on.
I agree with you there. I think the only thing that goes in Doug's favor is the fact that he disappears into the floor, but also that shows like he was just so over the factory. You know what I mean? That he would give up so fast that whatever power it is magically, it feels like a failing, morally. And now, last but not least, we must consider our son, Wilford.
Oh, Wilfred. The Wonka that this podcast accidentally created.
So he has a reality show, which means I think he is the most in the public eye out of all the Wonkas by far. You know what I mean? Let's go through the inventions he's made. Okay, he has a thing that if you taste candy, it feels like what it tastes like to listen to music. Tastes like what it feels like to listen to music. Sensory deprivation pods that make you dream of candy. Ball shrink pills that turn you into a ball. Puffleberry spice to clear your brain. Warming candies that make you feel unconditional love. Warm fuzzies. Warm fuzzies.
He has a chocolate candy vault.
Wonka is super into Yankee candles and regional exclusives, so he uses a Wonkanizer to get the exclusive one. So he has the Wonkanizer. So he's automatically 5 or higher. Yeah, which is fucking nuts. Because I originally was like, oh, he's low, but now I'm thinking about the shit he's made. No way. He's making dessert spaghetti, but he's so bad at making perfume. Also, the preconceived perceptions patry, which loosens people's held ideas about you but not change them, invented because Wonka was annoyed that because he holed himself up for 10 years, no one was inviting him to hang out anymore. He has a terrible music taste, which I do think needs to put him down a little bit.
He's met Celine Dion.
He has met Celine Dion, and he's enemies with Amari Louis.
So, and there's something about having a distinct enemy that brings you so much power, because it gives you something to fight for. You're not just getting power because he's, it's like, no, I want to get revenge on this person, and also his roommate.
So the question is he above or below Opera? That's the real question here. Because I think he's below Scott. But I feel like the social control that Wilford, this guy we made up, has kind of puts him above. Like, am I crazy? I think the reality show publicity
created him but didn't know it. There's something there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he was almost, he's like birthed from all of these different Wonkas along the way, and yet he's still retained his self. Like, he clearly had his own things. We haven't picked up every single thing from each Wonka and thrown it in there.
Right.
It's been and there aren't even things that are,
you
he's
could
not just
make a
only
case
that.
to put him above Scott. I don't know if I should make that case because I feel like I'm biased, but there's a case to be made there. I think the thing is if we take the raw things he's good at, he would be above Scott. But the problem is he's so bad at making perfume that I think it drops him down. You know what I mean? He's quantity over quality, but he does have a much more supportive relationship with like the Oompa Loompas and the community around him than most others.
I feel like he should go, I'm going to say below Opera, because if we look at the inventions, I'm just going to say Wilfred has created a lot of inventions, a lot of the candies, right? Hardly any of them have ever worked out.
Opera Wonka's inventions suck.
Yeah, but Opera Wonka has fucking gargoyles.
Wilfred knows Celine Dion, Elaine. He has a reality show. He's broadcasted to people's homes on the daily. He has a music career.
I will concede. My final stance is he is not allowed to go above Scott Wonka.
Oh no, he's not going above Scott.
If he needs to go above Opera
for him is between Scott and Opera, but I will hear you out on why you think you should be below Opera. I don't know if I'll be able to agree with it, but
here's my thing, because we're mostly saying it's almost not necessarily. So you're automatically saying that Wilfred is better than Greyhound, or are we just focusing more on he's less than Opera? Because I think there are two different arguments there, and one might be, you know what I mean? Because like if Greyhound Wonka and our Wilfred Wonka both have the Wonkanizer, they automatically start on the same playing field.
Yes.
So between them, I feel like Wilfred has a lot of like more kooky and like candy creations.
He's
and stuff,
automatically
right? Like,
above Greyhound to me. Yes.
So, I don't, because to me, power, he's created that stuff, but it never works out. Like, he has no control of it. Like, all of our characters that we put through his factory go away because they bust. So this is where the question of power is. Clearly he has the power to make it, but if it doesn't work, does it fully get to count to its full potential? Maybe it's like a half percent. You know what I mean? Like, it's like 50%.
Here's one thing I do think we may need to take into account. In the fan fiction I wrote,
this is fucking insane. This is absolute the fact that, like, this is insane what we're doing right now. Give me. Yeah, the fan. I haven't even thought about the fan fiction canon.
Christian Wonka's Wonka Squad. Within the Wonka Squad, Wilfred Wonka is Christian's right-hand man, and Opera Wonka is hated by everyone in the group.
Well, reputation does
Because
account
we
for a
must
lot
take
of
it into
power.
account.
We do need to take it into account. He is, however...
Okay, well, now that makes our answer easy if we conclude. I'm only bringing up the fan fiction because this has to do with Wilfred, who is like our specific creation, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that does make me feel better about putting Christian over Doug. It's like, well, Christian's in charge of the multiversal Wonka squad, so...
There you go. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. I think that's where it's like, for me, it's almost easier to look at, does he go above Greyhound Wonka or not? Because I think it's hard to kind of like I was saying, it's like he has, like, Wilfred has created way more interesting candies and stuff. His factory's way more interesting, in my opinion, than necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the Opera Wonka, it's a cool factory and it's alive, but we don't get to really see what that means as opposed to our Wonka. Very very curated, so many different rooms if you add up all of the different rooms we've put our characters through, because we just don't use the regular Wonka rooms, because why would we?
Yeah.
So in that regard, higher, but they don't ever work, and he's constantly having to bring people in his factory. He's mostly like a little mischief
I don't even
maker.
think he wants someone to take over the factory. I think
Not
he
really.
just kind of
He
recruits them to work for him, doesn't he?
I mean,
like,
he's technically
really, at
had
this
multiple.
point.
Yeah, he's had multiple winners. So, like, what's the point? You know, he's not. And they always. Yeah, wait. I don't. Have we ever had anyone who actually won and like stayed? Because I'm pretty sure, like.
Well, Laurie. Well, what happened was Laurie. So, what is it? Jess won the factory, and I think she sold it from the Succession episode.
Mm-hmm.
Laurie won the factory, and he
Gambled it all away.
Gambled it all away and drank. But then Philippe Desjardins came out of the sewer vents, and they rode off into the sunset on a horse.
Yes. So maybe Wonka
Vermicious
just keeps
Knits.
swooping in. He's like, I gotta take it on again.
Yeah, he gives them a week and sees what they do with it.
gives
Like
them
a
and then he
little,
just
like
does
a
it
little
again.
social studies class exercise. I think he just does it for fun. Yeah. Wait, here's the thing. Wilfred Wonka has to also be able to access alternate dimensions to do this.
Yes.
Because he's meeting Bert from Mary Poppins. He's meeting Aladdin. He's meeting animated characters. He's meeting people from the 2D world.
Yeah. The gargoyles are really hard for me to get past, because to me that is something just so absolutely different.
We can give Wilfred gargoyles, if that'll make it better for you.
Okay, cool. Wilfred has gargoyles. He may now go to slot number 4. You win. We're ready. I'm in. Fully. Wilfred has gargoyles, but they're a little sassier.
All right, so we have our official ranking.
Was that like 10 minutes of us going back and forth agonizing over?
I really think it was.
And it was so genuine. I really felt passionate about it. I was so like, we can't get it wrong. Oh no,
We have to put in
history's
our
going to
due
remember
diligence.
this.
We were like, does us going into the notes to see if Doug can talk to squirrels to elucidate us on the situation? The fan fiction, bringing in the fan fiction was like a third final act turn. It felt like something shifted.
That was okay.
right.
From the bottom to the top, Felicia, what is our Wonka ranking power?
In 14th
Power
place,
ranking.
we have human magician Mark Wonka.
A gem.
Living it up at Six Flags to this day. Number 13 is Alton Wonka. He may have a ride, but he's low down on the list. Number 12 is Gene. I know he's iconic and I know he's a legend, but that's not what power is in this regard.
We've got uranium on the table.
Yeah, we got uranium on the table.
Disregard
We've got
that.
time travel. We got hell on the table. We can't.
It's not necessarily a good thing to be at the top of this list. Let's be clear.
I'm
This is
looking at
not
the top
great.
5. Literally, only one of the top 5 is one that anyone would fucking recognize. Like, no one knows who any of the top 5 are. We just sound like insane when I'm like, so at number 2. Okay.
This is super wild.
Number 11 is TJ Wonka, because he's basically the same as Gene, but he can move body parts around. Number 10 is Pop Tropical Wonka, who's pretty fucking lame, but he is on their money, so we have to take it into account.
Yes.
Number 9 is Johnny. His factory's pretty big, and he seems to be making some sort of weaponry. It's weird. Number 8 is Doug. He's a cool Broadway guy, and he's got some robots, Bertha and Gravel, and he's got some
That
power,
mustache.
but a powerful mustache, and the Grandma Georgina sings about his sex appeal, but he doesn't have the social sway of our number 7, which is Christian Wonka. Hottie of the potty. I hated saying that.
Hottie of the potty.
Potty.
Which I know is
Poddy, like podcast.
So
What do you think? What do you think it was?
you're in a gender neutral bathroom.
Oh no.
And you just someone in the stall next to you goes, "Oh, excuse me. Can you like I don't have any toilet paper. Can you pass me some?" And you're like, "Sure." And so you get it and you go to hand it to the hand, But when you go to touch it, a buzzer goes off and you get shocked. And that's Christian Wonka being the hottie in the potty.
I love it.
He's got nice little hands, I guess. They're really attractive.
Ew.
I don't know. I've never really thought about hands. I mean, like, wow, those are attractive hands.
Yeah, that's not for me.
Hands just aren't my thing.
All right, number 6. We're moving on. Greyhound Wonka / website Wonka. Greyhound, okay, this is just on here because of the Wonkanizer. He has access to time travel. He's not that very good at weaponizing it, but he's so high just because no one else has access to that level of technology.
I guess people can use power for good.
Yeah.
So it's okay if he doesn't weaponize it, I suppose. There's good.
Yeah, but it's like reality breaking, you know?
Yes,
like,
yes.
So at number 5 is Opera Wonka, where there's some eldritch shit going on here. He says some stuff about the factory being alive. Like, he doesn't know if he can control it, and he has a bit of a Chosen One vibe. But because, like, his amount of power is unknown, he's at number 5.
Spooky,
and this is the zone where no one knows who the fuck any of these people are. Number 4 is Wilford, who we made up.
Hugs and kisses, son. We're so proud of you. We're so proud of you.
We're so proud of you making number 4.
Maybe next time
list.
you can make it in the top 3, but we're so proud of you.
If we keep inventing shit, he will, eventually.
Not us going out of our way to do that now in case we ever do something like this again. So we're like, oh my god, our Wonka's more
Wilford was
powerful.
brought to number 4 from the clutch last-minute invention of giving him some gargoyles.
Yeah. A concession to appease me.
It was like a deal, a business deal.
We give him the gargoyles if you give him number 4. Deal.
Okay, so Scott Wonka is number 3. Scott Wonka's the one from a script that never even got fucking made. Nick Cage, baby. He's just got a big ass factory and it's pretty cool.
Nick Cage was gonna play him. I always forget Nick Cage was gonna play him, which makes it even
would have, but it does make me happy.
Oh my god!
And now number 2, the upset of the evening.
The upset
is Henry Wonka with his seductive voice. He's only
from the
up here
Calm app.
From the Calm Sleep Story that I think we're like the only fucking person who's ever listened to this thing. Nobody knows about this shit. I think people fucking skip the episode in our player, which I can't blame them. I would too.
Why would they listen to it? I don't blame them either. I mean, I enjoy it, but also what?
But the thing is he can make things from dreams. It's just any dream he can make a reality, and he's been doing it for forever. And granted, he keeps summoning chocolate goats and they keep eating his coats, but like the access to that level of power is fucking crazy.
And the level of seduction we cannot overlook. Pairing those two together, it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Absolutely
it's dangerous. And then at number 1, we knew this would happen. I mean, I would feel like sacrilegious to do it any other way. We have our beef with Roald Dahl, but I do have a soft spot for Roald Wonka and his hell. His space adventures.
You know what's funny? Roald Wonka came back to me a little bit because of our Sims thing where we did the thing where they all like duked it out, and like Roald Wonka, and that was so charming and silly to me that I was like,
Didn't he kill everyone?
Yeah.
You can watch that on our Buy Me a Coffee.
So cute. Yeah. But yeah, Roald as he, it makes me in a way feel good that the original Wonka gets to win on this list when I think
if we didn't, if we had made Wilfred Wonka our number 1 or like fucking Scott Wonka our number 1, I think people would be like, well, they have no authority. They have no
credibility. It'd be like a Mary Sue moment in a weird way.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like it would be... So.
I mean, so I think we've done a good job of being fair and measured, when I brought up the fan fiction, that was a fair and measured moment.
No, it was.
Put it
was
in
good.
the history books. I went into this thinking like, oh, we've discussed a lot of this. Wow, there was so much ground I didn't even think we hadn't tread on, because my goodness, that was heated.
I can't believe Henry's second. That's the... Like, I never knew I would defend Opera Wonka so hard.
With such a fervor, yeah.
With such a fervor, and then have Henry Wonka just obviously makes sense. And also to fight for Pop Tropica Wonka. Be like, yeah, It
was so weird. I felt like when I would portray someone root for someone I didn't even like, I felt like my soul withering as I'm like, but no, wait, maybe. I
know, right? It was like, oh, gosh. I want everyone listening to, I don't know if I want everyone listening to this, but maybe some of you, let me know what your rankings are. I'd be cool.
If you have a different
Everyone can
ranking
send
than
it.
us, and if you have a point, I would love to hear it.
Yes,
Though this
yes.
list is official, and we will not be changing a thing.
Yes.
Because looking
Feel
at
free
it,
to-
it feels right.
It feels so right.
Oh, here's the thing. This is the last part of the episode. Where do you think Timmy will be on this list?
I think he's gonna be second because, I mean, I guess it depends on that. But if he genuinely
If
has
he
magic,
has something that breaks reality, he's at
Yeah.
number 2.
exactly.
If he doesn't,
I think if he doesn't, I think that he'll be at the top of the people who don't break reality because he has magic. His candy
Agreed.
literally makes people fly, and like I know that
There's
like
the-
fizzy
there's
lifting
the
drinks
re-
kind of has it, but it's literally magic, is what it sounds like. Which
there's
is
the reality breaking barrier, which is like a wall, and it's like if you can't cross the
Yes.
reality breaking line, you can only make it so far. I think he might.
I see
but, like,
potential for it, but yeah.
You know, there's a level. I mean, I don't know if he'll be able to. If he doesn't make a machine where dreams become real, he's not beating Henry. Like he just
No,
can't.
well, exactly right. Yeah. So if he doesn't have that moment, I think he'll be at the top of like our
I think
other people.
if he's
'cause-
reality breaking, he'll be above Scott, and if he's not reality breaking, he'll be like above Christian and right at the crossover.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. It'll be really interesting to see.
All right.
Well, from all of that, do you have any? Oh, sorry. Yes.
I will put our prediction for that in the prediction sheet so we can
Oh,
see.
beautiful. Because I was just about to say, going through all our baby little Wonkas, do you have any prequel predictions?
Yes. I have many of those.
What was something we thought about today that we didn't? I think a older female character is going to make a silly little comment about Timothy Wonka's hotness
I like it.
in regards to, like, you know, the Grandma Georgina, like something like Wonka gives someone a piece of candy and he's like, a treat for the family, and she's like, oh, what are your treat yourself? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Along
Like,
the
not
same
something
line.
that's overt, but like something like that.
Oh no, it's interesting because I was also thinking. I feel like Hugo Loompa is going to make an innuendo. I don't know. It doesn't matter who, even just himself. I think Hugo Loompa is going to make some innuendos. At least minimum one. In my prediction, I want it to at least be one. I don't want it if it's not. If it's not two, I don't want that to go away. Minimum one, but I think Hugo Loompa will be a little cheeky.
Hugo Loompa will make at least one innuendo. This is
At least one innuendo. I feel like I'm trying to like, how do I outsmart the genie when I make my wish? You know,
Literally.
I'm like, I gotta be really specific.
Oh God! Well, thank you
Gorgeous,
everybody for
wow.
listening to this episode of Wonka Watch. This lasted a lot longer than we thought.
I got way more passionate than I thought. So
I
yeah,
mean, man, this
Who
episode
knew?
was filled with so many highs and lows. Timothy Chalamet getting his little hair done is PetSmart. And if you wanna follow us after this and hear more of our stupid fucking stories, you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Wonka Watch, and you can send us an email with your own Wonka Power rankings or any other fun info at wonkarapture@gmail.com. And if you want to support us, you can do so on our Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/WonkaWatch, where we have a membership where you can give us a little money and we will give you a little content. A decent bit of content. It's a bunch of Wonka shit, and it's very fun. And when you subscribe, you get a song from us. And we've had so many people subscribe in the last time since we record, which, thank you so much. Oh my God,
you.
it's been amazing.
hugs.
But we are having to split it up, so we are doing 3 today and 3 next week. Do you have any preferences for genre, Elaine?
I feel like country tends to flow pretty well for me.
Okay.
But I'm like pretty open. Country, I think I need a break from jazz.
You've been jazzed out with the pee-pee songs. That's an insane sentence.
Wow.
Jazzed out with the pee-pee songs.
Greyhound Wonka's like, I feel ya.
Our first person on here is Cecil or Cecil. I'm not sure which. They said, I tried to explain this podcast to someone once. They looked at me like I was insane. Keep up the good work. And I'm glad to hear someone else is having that experience. Our second person is Samantha. They said, this podcast is getting me through a difficult time. It is a gift, which is very nice. Thank you.
gift.
And then Leslie is Phoebe. And they said, I love the show. I've been listening since episode 6. Good Lord, are you okay? And it's been such a comfort through my first year of college. Thank you guys for all the laughs. And thank you guys so much for, supporting us. We really appreciate it.
Wow. Our little Wonka scholars growing up so fast. Cecil/Cecil, I'm so sorry. I'm just going to have to decide or give you a nickname at the last moment.
Free acoustic guitar type beat unwritten.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I have the brain power for this, but we'll see how it goes. Okay. I came, I saw, I see, so said thank you so much for all the nice things that you said. It means a lot. Ha. And you might not remember, but I want to thank you, Samantha. Yeah, I know you're going through a difficult time, but you're a gift, and I don't know what I believe, but I just want to say, Phoebe, you're killing it. Oh, thank you so much. Y'all are so sick. Yeah, what the fuck is this podcast? You don't care. You want to watch Patropical Wonka go cray, and then you want to watch the Sims Wonka fight each other, a Muppet commentary track. It's all whack. Gonna buy me a coffee. Thank you so much for supporting us, Cecil/Cecil, Samantha, and Phoebe. We love you all. Thanks, babies.
That's my favorite Bare Naked Ladies song.
Cool. I should join a dad rock band.
There's a part where when Elaine started doing the Phoebe part, she just was like bobbing into the microphone so aggressively.
I was like, I had to hold my microphone. That really helped the energy for me. I'm going to do that from now on. I had to hold the microphone and just was like fucking rocking on the stage that is my
amazing
little office chair.
Well,
Wow.
at the end of the day, despite Henry Wonka placing fucking second, I'm gonna be honest, this episode felt important to me. I feel
really
like
felt monumental. This is a turning point in the canon of this entire podcast.
It felt like we
Let's
were
be real.
laying down the law. This felt like a congressional
This
hearing.
is forever going to be the episode that Timothee Chalamet went to Petco to get groomed. We can't. I mean, like, honestly, it's not that important, but it's like a little bit important. I'm going to
This
give it like
felt
a
big for us.
1%. This felt really big. This is
I'm a big one. So Timothee Chalamet may be going to the PetSmart getting a little bandana after getting his nails cut. But it's not that important.
It's not that important. Clearly, when you try to tell people at this podcast, they're like, what are you talking about? It's not that important at all.
Bye, guys.